This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by Mike Stefano. Support Switchcraft and my other content for as little as $1 and get exclusive rewards over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. Yes, the thing is on the door. File, save project as, and then this is 135, right? Let me scroll up. 145, right? Is this 145? Rav, you saw it when you came over last time. It's a little plastic thing that hangs on the door. It says, "Please do not disturb recording." Episode 145 of Switchcraft is also brought to you by Audible. Get a free book and directly support the stream by checking out Audible. They have thousands of books from every genre. You're definitely going to find something you like. Just head on over to runjumpstomp.com/audible. And we'll say sponsor. Save. Nintendo Switchcraft is recorded 3 times a week at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at whatever time I can get around to it. Tune in live at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp, just like these awesome people did. We've got Bravd, Snow Goes Ham, Vaxer is here, Aerslia, Link31254, Shubrew, and TF Wagner, along with the lurkers. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Let's start with an email that I got from Kid Curdy. Kid Curdy said, "Hey RJS, I just listened to your podcast where you talked about Smash Brothers and what we wanted to be added. I don't know if it's just me, but I absolutely adored Brawl's Subspace Emissary, which is basically the story mode. It was jam-packed with content and it just completely clicked with me. Interested in seeing if there's one in Super Smash Bros. 5. Would you like to see a story mode? I would like to see a story mode, if only because it gives you some single-player stuff in order to interact with the game and learn how to play a little bit slower." And then they went on to say, "Did you play Brawl's story?" "I did, but I don't think I finished it. Thanks, Kid Curdy. P.S. I told my friend about the cast. I think he'll love it." All right. Well, thank you very much, Kid Curdy, for emailing me. I appreciate it. If you want to email me, you can do so by emailing runjumpstomp@gmail.com. I'm curious as to how many of you finished the story mode of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I always kind of started story modes in fighting games, but usually I move on from that and then do more of the either single player or multiplayer stuff that doesn't really have a story. And they call it the Subspace Emissary story mode. There's really not much of a story there, but I did like some of the cool levels where they had side scrolling in there. So like you would be running to the side and you'd have to fight guys along the way. I really did enjoy that, and it really did kind of break up that game to give you a few more options in how you were going to play. If you're looking for other ways to get a hold of me, you can do so on Twitter at RunJumpStomp. You can call and leave a voicemail. The phone number is 260-RUN-JUMP. That's 260-786-5867. Don't forget to join our Discord over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. And of course, come by the chat sometime and hang out with us at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. I also got a message on Twitter, and it wasn't really directed towards me or a question about the show, but it was something that I thought was very important to share. So at ResTV on Twitter sent me a message, and they said, "We really do need a solution to #SaveOurSaves Nintendo!" They said hundreds upon hundreds of hours will vanish if my Switch decides to stop working. So that is a hashtag that it looks like is starting to go around. And if you guys want to use it to try and get Nintendo to realize how important it is for them to put in cloud saves, or at least give us a way to back up our saves onto the SD card, so that if something does happen to our Switch and we send it in Nintendo to be not prepared, repaired, then we get it back and we still have all of our saves. Because I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but one of the co-hosts of Nintendo Voice Chat, Brian Altano, he tweeted that he sent his Nintendo Switch in for repair and got it back, and all of his saves were deleted. He 100%ed Super Mario Odyssey. I think he also had over 200 hours in Zelda. And I can't imagine how frustrating that must have been for his for his system to come back and not have his save files. So make sure that you guys, tweet at Nintendo of America and use that hashtag Save Our Saves. That's a great hashtag, by the way, Rez. Good job. And see if we can maybe get a grassroots movement to try and get Nintendo to understand how important it is. Now, they may actually already have something in the works. They may have something planned, and we just don't know about it, So that could be something that comes along with, the next update of the Switch firmware, or it might be something that comes along with our subscription service that comes out in September, having cloud saves and that kind of thing. It's not something that I've ever needed to use, but the idea that I would send in my console to get repaired and have it come back without my save data would be really frustrating to me. So let's see if we can convince Nintendo to do that. Too bad you can't save the game card. Don't understand that. Link 31254. I personally don't want my games saving to the game card. I don't like it when they save to the game card. I just wish that, like Snow says, I wish that you could just back up to the SD card. That would be the best way. My son and I, we share games. I pop out the game out of my Switch, I hand it to him, and then he's playing it. Like, we only have one copy of Super Mario Odyssey, and this weekend he had a sleepover at a friend's house. He brought his Nintendo Switch. He brought Super Mario Odyssey, and the idea that my save files are in the hands of a 9-year-old, it's a little nerve-wracking, because he might accidentally delete it, or one of his friends might accidentally delete it. Maybe he's sleeping and his friend is playing a game on there, and he's like, well, I'll just save over this. So I personally don't want it to be saved to the game card. Snow Goes Ham says, sadly, game save data was how people hacked the Wii, the Twilight Princess exploit. I did not know that. But here's the thing, Snow. Just because that was the avenue that people used last time doesn't mean that that's the avenue that people will use this time. And no matter what Nintendo does, people are going to find a way to hack the Switch. I mean, last episode, I think we talked about how recently hackers have installed Linux on the Switch. So there's always going to be this arms race between the companies who build the hardware and the hackers who want to do something that is not intended with that hardware. And I don't think that it's a good idea to hold off on features that are very, very good for the consumer just because a hacker might exploit that. That being said, that seems to me like something that Nintendo would do. They'd say, well, we want to make sure that they can't crack our DRM, so we're not going to have those save states accessible. I don't know. Bruiser 7076, I'm just going to say Bruiser because I can't seem to wrap my head around it, says Nintendo needs to add Netflix. I guess, I'm surrounded. I've got 4 screens in front of me. I've got my phone. I've got my my iPad, which is around here someplace. I've got a TV in the next room. I don't personally feel like I need another place to watch Netflix, but that's just me. Snow Goes Ham says, I guess Nintendo may try to lower accessibility. That would be more about cloud saves than local saves. Hey, Marlo. Yeah, I did. Oh, I'm not opposed to it, Bruiser. I'm not saying that we don't want Hulu or I'm sorry, Netflix on there. I'm just saying I don't really care. Like I don't care that Hulu's on there. All right, let's start with the I don't know what that is, Patrick. Let's start with the news. All right, so we've got here, we'll copy that link. There's the next article. It seems like every episode we talk a little bit about how Bandai Namco is or is not working on Metroid Prime 4. Well, since the last time, there's been an update to the story. And it's that, oh gosh, how does this go? Okay, it's that Bandai Namco Japan studios are working on the Metroid project with the intention it will now take the lead of its development while Singapore moves on to focus on another Switch game. So if you haven't been paying attention to this, what's happened or what we know or what we think we know up until now is that Nintendo has allowed Bandai Namco. There was a LinkedIn profile from somebody from Bandai Namco from Singapore that said that they were lead designer on Metroid Prime 4. Well, they didn't say Metroid Prime 4. They said a first-person action adventure game exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, and everybody assumed that that meant it was Metroid Prime 4. Well, now it looks like it's not going to be with whoever that is at Singapore, and it's going to be moved over to the Bandai Namco Japan offices. So, like I said before, it's all rumors and scuttlebutt, and we don't know what's really happening. And the only people who do are the people who are at Bandai Namco and Nintendo, and they're not saying anything. What I will say is this: I completely do not expect to see any Metroid Prime 4 at E3 this year, and I don't expect that it is launched this year either. Well, okay, maybe they'll show some early footage, but we're not going to get a playable. Yeah, let me rephrase what I said. There won't be any playable Metroid Prime 4 at E3 this year, but they will show us a quick little video just to give the fans enough information so that we know, hey, they are still working on it. That's what I expect, but I don't expect Metroid Prime 4 to launch this year. Yes, Bruiser is correct. That's how I feel. I think it's just going to be a trailer. All right, let's jump into the next story. And hey, Bruiser, thanks for the follow, man. Let me look at how I ended that. I want to edit that out real quick. Solo. Let's jump in. All right. Trailer. There we go. Delete. All right. Next story. All right, there's the next story. I am going to real quick go talk to somebody, and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just had to go talk to one of the kids. Let's see. Whoa, wait. I got to name these audio tracks. So that was feedback. And then this was something? Oh, Namco. Bandai Namco. Save. I'm back. What are you talking about? I never came back. I'm here. Okay. If you don't know who Mr. Koizumi is, he is the guy who at the Switch announcement presentation, that live thing that they did over a year ago in January, he is the guy that held the little ice cubes and shook them around in order for us to understand what HD Rumble is. And he was also lead developer, or mostly in charge of Mario Odyssey. He's also one of the guys who was in charge of the overall software in general over at Nintendo. Well, he was talking to someone and they asked, are we going to be seeing DLC for Super Mario Odyssey? And here's what he said. He said, there's a lot of volume in Super Mario Odyssey. I think that it means that there's a lot of gameplay. There's a lot of things to do. He went on to say, that was a big focus in development. Give the player tons to do. We pushed ourselves to create as much as we could. I can't announce anything specifically today, but of course, if there was a really cool idea for us to do, then we would certainly be thinking about DLC. I think that this is great. Super Mario Odyssey is fantastic. And now I only have, I don't know, like 400 moons or something. So like I still have plenty to do in the game, but there are people like Brian Altano, who was we talked about earlier, who has all 999 moons, and they have done everything that there is to do in Super Mario Odyssey. Now we do know that we're getting sometime soon as a free update, which whenever somebody says DLC, especially Nintendo, I think that they mean paid DLC, not free DLC. Now we already know that we're getting free DLC in this really cool balloon hiding game where you talk to Luigi. He gives you 3 balloons. You have to go and hide them as fast as you can in 30 seconds, or maybe it was just 1 balloon, I think. So you got 30 seconds to hide 1 balloon, and then you can come back and talk to Luigi, and he will allow you to try and find as many balloons as you can in 30 seconds that your friends have hidden. And that's really, really cool. Now, that's free DLC that everyone is getting. And I can't remember when that was. I think maybe it was June, something like that. Maybe it was May. I can't remember, or maybe we don't know yet. But this is going to be different, I think. When they say DLC, I think that they mean paid DLC. So think about what they did with Zelda. With Zelda, they had 2 DLCs that you could pick up. You got them both for the same price. You could not buy one without the other, which kind of, irritated a few people. But it was $20, and you got a bunch of new stuff to do. Keep in mind, Nintendo also had a bunch of free stuff added to Zelda as well. Then you look at, what was the other game that did the exact same model? I think it was Xenoblade 2. They had that exact same model. There's free stuff that comes out for everybody who has the game. And then for a certain price, you get this DLC pack and then this DLC pack later. And I think that Nintendo is a company that is doing DLC right. You definitely are getting a big bang for your buck. I mean, and they've been doing this for a while now. It's not like Nintendo is a stranger to DLC. Let's take a look at what happened with Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. Not 8 Deluxe on the Switch, but 8 on the Wii U. That game had DLC. It was really, really cheap DLC. I can't remember how much it was, but I think it was $12 if you bought both packs at the same time. And they came out with that first set of 4 more racetracks, plus I think it was 2 more racers. And then the second DLC came out with 4 more racetracks and 2 more racers. And in addition to that paid DLC, they also had the free DLC that came out where they gave it to everyone, the 200cc races. So it seems like it's Nintendo's MO where you get some free stuff, but then we're going to offer you a good value for money to get the paid DLC. And I'm looking forward to seeing maybe another world in Super Mario Odyssey. Maybe, you get more outfits to collect or something like that. I think it's good and it's going to bring people back. Now, why does Nintendo do this? Well, there's a couple reasons. For those people who finish the game, they might want to trade that game in, right? And now, somebody who just picked up the Switch, they might decide to buy Mario Odyssey used at GameStop. And what's that going to do? That means that Nintendo gets $0 for that game. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy used games, but what I'm saying is this is a big motivator for Nintendo to make it worthwhile for me to hold on to their game. Because the fewer copies that get traded in to GameStop or Amazon or whatever place that you trade in games at, the fewer of those that are traded in, the more likely it is that somebody's going to have to buy the game new. And if there's a lot to do, this is a win-win for the consumer. The only person that really hurts out here is GameStop. And I'm not really a big fan of GameStop. So, there'll be no tears shed on my part for them. All right. We'll say Mario. I agree, Bruiser. Nintendo is doing a wonderful job on the Switch. They've been killing it. Okay, let's see. Where were we? That's this one. Copy link address. Link address. 123 Hyrule. Hey, Lord Beasley, how you doing? Got Milk Mario, welcome to the stream. I didn't see you show up, and thank you for enjoying the hat. All right, where are we? Oh, I gave it to you, and then I did not open it. Now, earlier I talked about how... Hold on a sec. All right, sorry about that. Earlier, I talked about how I didn't think that Metroid was going to be coming out this year. In fact, I expect that it won't come out this fiscal year either. It'll probably come out next fiscal year. Now, for those of you that don't know, Nintendo's fiscal years start and end in, or begin in April and end in March. So if something were to come out in, let's say, next February, then it would still be fiscal year 2018. Well, I don't expect... Metroid Prime 4 to come out this fiscal year. What I do expect to come out this fiscal year, which is any time between... Oh, well, hold on. Not this fiscal year. Next fiscal year. So let me start over. I screwed that up. For those of you that don't know, Nintendo begins their fiscal year in April and ends their fiscal year in March. We're currently in fiscal year 2017 for Nintendo, which means that if a game comes out tomorrow, then it is fiscal year 2017, or the game came out in 2017, according to Nintendo's, their ledgers. And earlier in the show, I mentioned that I don't think that we're going to be seeing Metroid in 2018. And what I meant to say by that is I don't expect to see Metroid in fiscal year 2018. So what does that mean? That means that I don't expect us to see that Metroid game come out between April this year and March next year. I think it's probably more likely to be in fiscal year 2019. So that means between April of next year and March of the year after that. So we've got a long time to wait for Metroid. Now, the reason I'm talking about Metroid again is because many times I have said in the past that I don't expect to see either Metroid or Pokemon come out this year. And when I was talking about this year, I wasn't talking about fiscal years, I meant this year. Now, a little bit of that has changed, and that's since Nintendo did their quarterly earnings report where they report to their financial investors and stuff like that. And on, I think it was like page 6 or something of that, they list some of the games that are coming out in the future or things that are planned, both third party and first party. And one of the games that was listed on there is Pokemon for the Nintendo Switch. And the way that they listed it is 2018 or later. And what does that mean? Well, it means fiscal year 2018 is their goal. Their goal is to actually deliver that game this fiscal year between April 2018, which is coming up soonish, and March 2019. And for the most part, in the past, we've seen most Pokemon games come out during holiday season. So that's where I think we're probably going to be seeing Pokemon. And I was still skeptical that it was going to come out this or next fiscal year, in 2018 fiscal year, because when we saw at E3 last year, the CEO or president of the Pokemon company, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, he was talking about it, and he said, look, we were working on it, but they didn't show us anything, right? And then there was an interview with a couple of the developers of the game where they were basically given like softball questions, but they kept saying, yeah, we're working on it, we're working on it. And if we move on to that, if you look at that page of the financial report, it says specifically that they're hoping for a 2018 release. Now, again, I'm still kind of skeptical about that, but here's this news story that's coming out, and it is a job listing by the Pokemon Company International that says that they are hiring editors on a 6-month contractual basis. These localization editors are in charge of localizing all editorial facets of video games and other related materials, such as video game strategy guide and website. This is via Nintendo Soup, and here's the biggest part. It says the role is anticipated to commence between April and June 2018. And then Nintendo Soup goes on to say, for reference, translation work started for Pokemon Sun and Moon in early January, so editing work taking place from April to June makes sense. So I think that there's a good chance that we will see Pokemon for the Nintendo Switch, which is going to be a massive, massive juggernaut to deal with. Like, that is going to move Switches. All right, it's going to move a whole lot of Switches because Pokemon is huge. People don't understand how huge Pokemon is, but it is really, really a big deal. So I think that we're going to see Pokemon in fiscal year 2018. Now, that does not mean that we'll see it this year in 2018. That means that we will see it sometime between April 2018 and March 2019. And I think what they're hoping for is to hit a holiday release, but that's cutting it really, really close. That 6-month thing where it starts in April, we'll see what happens. But I'm curious how many of you are interested in Pokemon for the Switch. The last couple of Pokemon games have not really drawn me in. The only one that I played that I finished was Pokemon X, and I really enjoyed it. And for many years, I was like, I don't want Pokemon. That's a game for kids. I never tried it. And a friend of mine, Kevin, told me, you have to try it. It's a really good RPG. And I tried Pokemon X, and he was right. I had a lot of fun with it. But there wasn't enough to hold my attention with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and there wasn't enough to hold my attention with Sun and Moon. I definitely like the mechanics in Sun and Moon better, but I just felt like it was kind of too fluffy for me. And even the story in X and Y wasn't really enough to hold my attention. I mostly did it because I was just having a lot of fun. But what I'm hoping for is that the Nintendo Switch one just has a story that's a little more accessible to adults and a little less. I mean, I know that it's a game that is aimed at kids, um, but I'm just hoping that we don't get that same everything is friendship story, because that's not really something that appeals to me as an adult. And there's a lot of media out there that is both appealing to kids and adults, like The Incredibles, things like that. So if anybody can do it, I'm sure that the Pokemon Company can. I just don't know that they'll try. So that's my guess, is we're going to see it in 2018 fiscal year, not 2018 like calendar year, but fiscal. There. Oh my god, I can't type. Pokemon. Got Milk Mario. Pokemon for Switch is a must-buy for you. Imagine you find a Pokemon in the wild and you throw yours and take over yours for combat. I don't know what you mean, Bruiser. I don't follow. You think the new Pokken tournament is a testing platform for a new combat system? You mean like making it a fighting game? I don't think so. No, well, okay. Well, they said the Switch Pokemon game is definitely a traditional RPG. So we know that it's not going to be like a fighting game. Oh, I closed that. I shouldn't have. All right. So what's next? All right. So I'm going to do, let me see how long that this is so far. So tracks, align tracks end to end. Oh, I might actually need to highlight some tracks in order for that to work. So we are already at 22 minutes. I'm going to lightning around the rest of these stories. So here are the stories if you want. Copy link. Oh, wow, there's only one more story. All right, cool. That can't be right. All right, there we go. There's the next story. You don't want the same combat? You're going to get the same combat, Bruiser. I guarantee it. And for me, it's not about the combat, it's about the collecting. And that's why it was fun for me, is just the collecting. Because what happened, and I agree, I don't really like the combat, especially, I mean, maybe if you're fighting against another person, it's fun. But like the last one, or in Pokemon X, I had Howlucho or something. I can't remember his name. He's like an owl and a luchador, or a falcon and a luchador mixed up or something. And like he could one hit everything. Like I had grinded up, I guess, too high or something, and it really kind of took the fun out of the combat for me. I just kind of wandered around looking for Pokemon that I didn't have yet. That was what was fun for me. Well, if you didn't know, Pearl and Marina amiibo have been revealed. Pearl and Marina are the main characters in Splatoon 2, and they're the ones who bother us at the beginning of every time you load up the game. It's really annoying, and I wish we could skip that. Please, Nintendo, let us skip that. But they have amiibo, and they are a 2-pack. And you get the 2-pack for, I think it was $28.99. You can click a link in the show notes to see like my full thoughts on it, but it's only like, you know what? No, let's start over. I need to know that price. $24.99. Okay. The last story for today is that Pearl and Marina amiibos have been announced. It is a dual pack for $24.99. And the reason I'm talking about it, first off, is if you don't know, the pre-orders went live today, so make sure that you pick them up. I'm going to drop a link in the show notes that'll give you an Amazon link where you can pick them up. Actually, no, let's stop. I can't say that because what if there's no Amazon link? I'm screwing this up. We're burning the house down, guys. Let's let me see if I can figure this out. Pearl and Marina. Finding jewelry. Amiibo. Oh, okay, I'm glad that I didn't say that because there's no link on Amazon yet. Thank you, Bravd. I can always depend on you to make me feel bad about myself. All right, Splatoon fans, we've got Pearl and Marina Amiibo coming out. They come as a 2-pack for $24.99. So if you are big fans of theirs, I personally am not a big fan. Like most Amiibo that I have picked up have been out of nostalgia or because I really like the statue. Now, I will say this, that the statue for both Pearl and Marina, like Nintendo's done a great job with the detailing here. I think that they look great. And if I were to pick one over the other, I would definitely pick Marina. I think that it's a much cooler looking figure, and I think that I overall I like the character better, like just the way that she was designed. And I think I'm in the minority there. I think a lot of people very much prefer Pearl. But if you are interested, you can't get them single. You can only get the pair, and it's $24.99 now. Right now, there's really no news on what they do in the game. I will say that I was talking to somebody on the Discord, and they said, "Well, we tried the Callie and Marie, which are from Splatoon 1. Those amiibo like unlocked music in the game. So you know, or not Pokemon. I almost said Pokemon. Amiibo for me are really more about collecting the little statuette. You know, that little small figure that looks cool, that represents something, a physical thing, a physical manifestation of a cool thing that you like. You know, because a lot of us who are gamers, we don't have these tangible things that we can collect most of the time. So the amiibo kind of became that tangible thing, and a lot of people really like amiibo, and I personally like a lot of them because they remind me I get to collect this intangible thing that when I was a kid, if you had told me, hey, someday you're going to be able to pick up a Link statue and have it, that's really cool. And the in-game use has always been a secondary thing to me. It's never been something that I've been super excited about. So I might be in the minority there, but I don't think so. I think most people who like amiibo, they like them because they look cool. And I will say that the Pearl and Marina amiibo definitely look cool. So if that's something that you're into, make sure that you go and pick it up as soon as you can. I've heard that pre-orders have started. In fact, people in Discord were posting pictures of their order forms earlier. So make sure that you guys pick those up if you can find them, because if past is precedent to amiibos, then they're going to be tough to find, I'm sure. Splatoon music is the other problem. I like Splatoon music, except for that weird jazz one. That jazz one was terrible. Save. It's funny how Pearl is the older one. Older? I mean, they're both. They don't have age. Is there like a backstory to these guys that I am not aware of? All right. Well, guys, that's it for me today. If there's a story that I missed or a topic that you want discussed, please be sure to let me know. And one of the ways that I mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you are looking for ways to support the show, you can do so by heading on over to runjumpstomp.com/support. There you will find all kinds of links and ways that you can help the show, both monetarily and for free. Of course, the best way to help the show is just to get somebody else to listen to it. Let your friends know about the show. Put it on their phones and let them listen to it with yours or something like that. Send them a message on a text message that has a link to the show, and get them to check it out, because if you like the show, maybe they will too. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you so much to Tom Winter and Noteblock for the use of the music on the show. Next episode will be on Thursday. I will see you guys then. Until then, have a good one. I'll see you next time. That's right. Stick the headphones right in their ear.